Hello YouTube, how you guys doing today? Thanks for stopping by, being a passenger on the P Reacts Daily Train. I appreciate everybody that's been coming by and helping out with the channel. Please like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out, especially since I'm a newer channel. Also, it helps with the algorithm. Don't forget, this is not a substitute for the original content, so go over to the original artist, watch it on their channel, give them a like, show them some love. Also, we don't redistribute any of the content, so we're following all the copyright rules. My name is P, and we'll get started on this video as soon as we see our disclaimer. Alrighty, today's video, we're going to be doing some of the Fat Electrician, and this channel he's doing here is the Fat Files channel. So go over to his channel. Give him a like, subscribe to him, watch it on his channel also, because this is only a reaction to this. So this is not a substitute for the original content. So this is about the Waffle House, the Roman Colosseum of the South. So let's check this out and see what he has to say about this.
Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. I actually debated on which channel I was going to upload this video on because on one hand, we're going over a business and the business model that it has. But on the other hand, this restaurant is basically the Roman Colosseum of the South. And I'm pretty sure if you eat there enough, you actually get a deployment patch from the US military. Regardless, I wore my schnazziest tank top for the occasion. Today we're talking about Waffle House. Okay, just to be completely clear with everybody, I was pretty sure I was not going to get caught off guard because Waffle House is already absolutely crazy. I started looking into it and then found out that Waffle House is somehow connected to the Manhattan Project from World War II. So this man graduated from law school at 23 years old, passed the bar, and immediately gets drafted in 1940 in the days leading up to World War II. Because he graduated from college, he's presented with two different options. He can A, go straight into officer training, and that's a 3-year commitment, or he can just be a normal draftee and go in as an enlisted soldier, and that is a 1-year commitment. Now you gotta remember, at this point in time, like 1940, while World War II is currently going on, America's not involved yet. The attack on Pearl Harbor has not happened, and prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, the American people did not want to go to war. Because of that, Tom Faulkner figures, hey, we're not actually going off to war. I don't want to waste 3 years of my time just being in the military, not actually, fighting a war or whatever. So he chooses to be a draftee. Goes into the military as an enlisted soldier, E1 private. From there, goes off to basic training. As soon as he gets through basic training, the attack on Pearl Harbor ends up happening. America enters the war. He immediately opts to go into OCS training and commits for 3 years. After he completes the officer training course, he actually gets slotted to be a counterintelligence officer where he does, and I quote, a lot of top secret stuff.
You see, my identity must remain mysterious and my mission secret. I cannot reveal it to you.
You can actually tell in the interviews that he gave later on in his life, like in his 70s, 80s, and 90s, that he's still not sure what he is and what he isn't allowed to talk about. But he did end up telling us that basically it was his job to try to sneak onto military bases, not as military personnel. So he would basically disguise himself as like a painter or a carpenter or whatever and try to infiltrate a US military base to expose weaknesses within the system to help counteract enemy spies. So he does that for a couple of years, and then one day he ends up getting orders like, hey, you're going to Knoxville, Tennessee. And he's like, okay, for what? And they're like, don't fucking worry about it, just show up. So he shows up in Tennessee and he's given his orders, and those orders, I'm paraphrasing here, but they're essentially, hey, here's your partner. You two are gonna hop in that truck and you are gonna drive it from Knoxville, Tennessee to Los Alamos, New Mexico. You guys are gonna dress in plain clothes. You're not gonna look at what's inside the truck. You're not gonna talk about what's inside the truck. You're gonna take this map and take that exact route. This route avoids every major city and every major highway. You are going to drive straight there 53 hours straight, taking turns sleeping in the passenger seat and not stopping for any reason whatsoever. And he does this.
Oh man, imagine if you had to do that. Oh my gosh. 53-hour drive. Straight, rotate, don't stop. That is nuts. Yeah. And he's not sure what he's allowed to talk about and what he's still not allowed to talk about. Very interesting. He always, Fat Electrician here always has some very interesting videos on his channel. So got to check his channel out and give him some love over there. But yeah, I love his channel. Very nice, very nice. Yeah. And so far, It's more about military, so I wonder how that ties in with Waffle House. But we'll find out here soon.
For the next year and a half, pretty much nonstop, and then like 20, 30 years after the fact, he finds out that he was actually hauling the majority of the enriched uranium for all of the nuclear testing and the building of nuclear weapons. Which, as we all know, brings about the end of World War II, at which point he gets out of the military, moves back home to Atlanta, Georgia, starts helping his dad out with his real estate agency. Now, he does that for about 10 years, and during this time, he ends up selling the house right next door to his to another guy by the name of Joe Rogers, and they pretty much become best friends. Joe Rogers was also an Army veteran. He was actually a pilot that flew B-24s in World War II. When Joe got back home after the war, he did not want to go off to college, so he actually just took the first job that he was offered, being a short order cook at a now defunct restaurant chain known as Toddle House. He worked his way up, becoming a restaurant manager, then eventually becoming a regional manager. And then one day, his neighbor and best friend, Tom Forkner, real estate agent, always looking for the next investment, comes to him and is like, hey, I'm thinking about opening up my own restaurant. I can get the real estate deal going on that side. I just wanted to know, like, if I opened up and bought a franchise of Toddle House, would you be willing to run it for me? Now, at this point, it's like 1954, 1955. Joe Rogers has a ton of experience inside the restaurant industry, and he basically tells his best friend, like, hey, don't open a Toddle House. You should start your own thing. Toddle House's business model isn't that great. If you start your own restaurant, I will help you run it. He then goes off on vacation with his family, and by the time he comes back, Tom Forkner has already bought the real estate and comes to Rogers and is like, cool, what's the business we're starting?
Where's Pancake's house?
What?
We stop at Pancake's house.
And within the span of like 6 months, the very first of what is now the legendary restaurant chain of Waffle House opens. And Waffle House is legendary, probably for all the wrong reasons. I mean, even if you've never been to a Waffle House, you've heard about Waffle House because, well, I mean, Kid Rock got in a fight there. You've got Haley Booth, the viral Waffle House cook known as the Last Chairbender.
The Last Chairbender. Well, what the heck? Why would you get in a fight at Waffle House? That is crazy. I mean, it's a restaurant, but that's just craziness. But yeah, I've heard of Waffle House. I've actually seen one. There was actually one across the street from where I worked when I was younger. I haven't seen one in the state I'm in now, so I gotta look out for them. But I've never actually been in one. I don't think. I might have possibly went into one once when I was working there and went across. I might have been in there once, but I can't remember. But yeah, I'm kind of curious now. Now I want to go and eat at one just to go. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's get back to this.
There's entire subreddits and YouTube channels almost exclusively dedicated to all the fights that break out at Waffle House. I remember the first time I went to a Waffle House, I stretched first, I grabbed a GoPro, I was ready to yell World Star, nothing exciting happened. I just had delicious breakfast at like 3 o'clock in the morning, which is probably 99% of people's experiences because despite all of the negative PR, Waffle House makes a ton of money and has an incredible business model. Okay, Waffle House had about $1.4 billion in revenue last year, which is about $650,000 per location. And we need to
Man, imagine $1.4 billion a year. Man, you figure half of that's gone just for expenses, paying people, blah, 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 blah. Even if 3/4 of it's gone. If you can make 25% profit on that, holy cow. That's great. Hell, you only need to do it for 2 or 3 years, then you could sell it and retire. Man, excellent, excellent. That's something I need to get into.
take into consideration that each Waffle House is absolutely tiny, that's really impressive. Out of their 2,100 tiny Waffle House locations, their yearly stats are 58 million cups of coffee, 124 million waffles, 153 million servings of hash browns, 272 million eggs, which is about 2% of all the eggs consumed in the United States of America, and 85 million strips of bacon. Yes, I did the math. That is about 8,000 miles worth of bacon.
I worry what you just heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have.
So Waffle House is obviously doing something right. What?
Give me all the bacon and eggs you have. Oh my goodness. That's so insane. The good thing I think about Waffle House is they don't have a lot of stuff on their menu. And that's one mistake I think a lot of restaurant owners make. And I did the same thing because I used to own my own restaurant chain when I lived in Indiana. And I had between 2 to 5 locations during the time I had them. And I ran those for 5 to 7 years, give or take, somewhere like that. And I started out, I had a bunch of stuff on the menu. I mean, I sold like hamburgers, chicken fillet sandwiches, pork tenderloin sandwiches, fish sandwiches, mini pizzas. What else did I have? I had home cooked meals like meatloaf, mashed potatoes, vegetables, French fries, onion rings, breaded mushrooms. You know, it was more like a diner 50s style type of a restaurant. And that was the big thing. I think I had like 60 or 70 items on the menu when I started out for my, say, first 3 years or 4 years. And when I adjusted the menu, I cut the menu down to like 15, 16, 17 items only. I went from 60 to a little over 15 items. And I pulled in less money per month, but my profit went up 3 times the amount of what I was making. So I made a little bit less money, but my profit was 3 times more by cutting down to less items. And I was like, oh, I wish I would have known this from day one. I could have been way more money ahead. But yeah, those 15 items or so compared to 60, my profit margin was so much more because I wasn't wasting all this money on all this stuff that nobody's buying as much. Or you give them more choice and they're spending less money on the more expensive things or the things that are more popular. So basically all I did was take the 15 things that was the most popular and sold those instead of all this extra stuff. But yeah, yeah. So anyway, let's get back to this.
What exactly are they doing? Well, it all comes down to their business model and their branding. Now, with the Waffle House branding, all the negative PR about fights always breaking out at Waffle House, in a way, has actually helped them out a ton because Waffle House, by and large, is pretty much a regional chain. It's primarily down in the South. Yet, Waffle House has become a household name pretty much everywhere in America. You could have never even seen a Waffle House, and you already know Waffle House is open 365 days
That's why I haven't seen one here, because I live on the West Coast now.
a year, 24 hours a day, and they serve breakfast. Why do you know they serve breakfast? Because their name is fucking Waffle House. I mean, look at this sign. You're driving down the road, you see that, you know everything you need to know. They sell breakfast. The end. Do that with another breakfast place. If you're not from there and you don't know what a Denny's or a Perkins or an IHOP is, you have no idea. It's just a restaurant, maybe. Waffle House, they're selling waffles, which means there's like a 99% chance they sell other breakfast food. Fucking sold, I'm in. So already, the branding is absolutely incredible, but here's the true genius of it. Why did they call it Waffle House? Why didn't they call it Breakfast House or Bacon House or Hash Brown House? It's because waffles had the highest profit margin. I cannot stress to you enough how absolutely genius that is, right? Because you don't need to sell breakfast, all right? Everybody's already in on breakfast, okay? I could be blackout drunk at 4 in the morning, and you could ask me, hey, do you want breakfast? I'm coming up like the Undertaker every single time. And then you go, the only thing open right now is Waffle House, okay? I was already sold on breakfast from the get-go, but because Waffle House is where we're going, guess what I'm getting? A motherfucking waffle, and they're making more money. It makes sense that Tom Faulkner was a counterintelligence officer because the man literally said 2 words and has already subconsciously tricked you into ordering the most expensive thing on the menu that makes him the most money. So the branding of Waffle House is both simple and brilliant, and the rest of the business model matches that to a T. Okay, all Waffle Houses are like virtually identical. They're very small. They only seat like 30 people, and you can actually see the cook making you your food. Now, at a glance, you're just like, oh, they're just going for that like 1950s drive-through type of a vibe, which they are, but there's way more to it than that. Because the restaurant is so small, the kitchen never has the opportunity to get bogged down, meaning that they're moving tables very, very quickly. So instead of having one kitchen and 100 customers, you've got one kitchen and 30 customers, and you can just turn those tables over 3 times faster, which pretty much guarantees that every customer is going to get exactly what they wanted. Okay, they're not going in there for 5-star dining. They're going in there because they're hungry and they want breakfast, and now they're going to get breakfast really quick in a small setting that doesn't feel like a packed restaurant where they have to wait in line to be seated. And I know what you're thinking. What if one Waffle House just reaches its maximum capacity, right? What if it's just completely full with a line out the door 24/7 every day of the year? Waffle House surely would build a bigger Waffle House, right? No, we're going to take the same parking lot, and right next to that first Waffle House, we're going to build a second fucking Waffle House, okay? The plan is working, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. Which is one of those things that seems dumb.
Oh my gosh, there's 3 Waffle Houses right beside each other. 1, 2, 3. That is insane.
But is actually brilliant. So obviously speed is key to this business model, and they've done themselves a big favor with their menu because their menu is overwhelmingly simple, okay? It's literally one side of one piece of paper. Okay, the entire menu is comprised of like 10 things. They have waffles, sausage, bacon, ham, eggs, toast, biscuits, gravy, butter, and syrup. Guess how many flavors of syrup they have? 1. It's fucking syrup flavored syrup. The entire menu is simple, exactly how it's supposed to be. Oh, sorry, they have hash browns too. Sorry, 11 things, not 10. Anyways, moving on.
See, that's what I'm saying. 11 items. I had like 15, 16 items, maybe 17 tops. And look how famous it is. And I did really well when I switched down like that. And then like I said, I had it for 5, 6 years, and I ended up selling them and moving. So yeah, very nice, very nice. Yeah, same idea. And look how famous they are.
Another reason they do so good is they actually might be the best fast food chain when it comes to taking care of their employees. They pay them higher than average, they have super flexible schedules, and they're one of, if not the only fast food chain that actually offers all their employees healthcare and dental insurance.
Yeah, see, that's the thing too. I did the same thing. Whatever minimum wage was, I paid $1 more than minimum wage to start. So I was paying better than most jobs. Also, after 30 days, was it 30? Yeah, after 30 days, if you were like a good employee, you were busting butt, you were doing good, you're getting things out, doing things, you got $1 raise, not a 10-cent or 25-cent raise, that piddly crap that most jobs give you. You got $1 raise after 30 days. So now, after 30 days, you're making like $2 more than minimum wage, and then you got a review after a year. And if you got a raise, you got $1 raise, not a few cents. So after a year, you could be making $3 more than minimum wage. So, you know, I was like that. I was like, award your people and they'll stick with you. They'll be faithful. They'll actually do their job and not be lazy. And it was very rare that I had lazy workers. But yeah, so let's get back to it.
Okay, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay, but really, how good are they actually treating the Waffle House employees? I got the one stat that's everything you need to know, okay? Waffle House treats their employees so well that employees are willing to commute into a natural disaster to work at a different Waffle House when the occasion arises. Yeah, Waffle House is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and they fucking mean it, okay? Whenever there's like a hurricane coming or some type of impending natural disaster, Waffle House organizes what they call a jump team, a bunch of Waffle House employees from a different region that's going to be unaffected because they know that their local employees are going to be busy taking care of their own family and their own houses during a hurricane. So they bring in teams from outside the region to work inside of a natural fucking disaster, and they're willing to do it.
I never said thank you.
And you'll never have to.
Okay, McDonald's can barely get their employees to show up on a good day, and Waffle House has employees volunteering to commute into a fucking hurricane to make breakfast. And this is the most impressive part of the business because Waffle House has the best logistics and preparedness of any company I've ever seen ever.
Yeah, that's the thing. You treat your employees good, you treat them correct, and they will do stuff like that. But when you treat your employees like a number and you pay them the bare minimum because you're a greedy bastard, um, then yeah, you get people that don't want to work, and you're turning over and you're spending more money on labor and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. See?
The only entity that beats them in logistical capacity is the United States military. Waffle House is literally ready for absolutely anything. Every single Waffle House has the playbook inside of it that details exactly how the staff is supposed to handle literally any type of emergency or situation that could possibly arise. And if for some reason the situation comes across that isn't in that playbook, after it happens, they immediately add it to the playbook. It covers tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, a hole in the roof from a branch falling, a car driving into the restaurant. You can drive a car into Waffle House and they're still planning on staying open. The playbook even has detailed plans for every type of disaster for what the local employees, while they're not working, should go home and do to make sure that their house and their family are safe as well. Every single Waffle House has a backup generator. The stovetop, it runs on propane, and they have a bunch of extra propane tanks on hand. Flashlights, candles, batteries, backup water. They have a special menu of what they're able to serve when the water is out and they're running on reserve water. When a Waffle House location is going to be in a disaster area, that Waffle House stocks up on extra food, and then all of the neighboring locations in the unaffected area also stock up and stage food there to get them more food when they need it. If Waffle House is a standing structure, those motherfuckers are serving breakfast come hell or high water.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving!
Waffle House is so good at this that FEMA uses them to gauge how bad natural disasters really are. Yes, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, literally uses the Waffle House Index to gauge how bad a disaster is. Okay, green, Waffle House is running as normal. Yellow, Waffle House is using the backup generator or having to use an altered menu. Red, Waffle House is closed. People are probably already fucking dead by that point. Waffle House is literally the Terminator of the fast food industry, okay? The fact that the federal government, probably the most powerful entity on the planet, maybe ever, looks at a chain of restaurants and is like, man, if Waffle House is closed, we need to mobilize the National Guard, is fucking crazy. Now, maybe you guys are thinking the same thing I was at this point in my research, and I'm like, man, I need to invest in this company. I need to see if I can open up my own Waffle House franchise. This company's awesome. And this is where the bad news comes in. I mean, technically you can franchise a Waffle House, but most of us probably can't. The company is privately owned. It's not on the stock market. It's still owned by the families of the original two founders. And while they do allow franchises, they are super picky about who they let buy in to have a franchise, and they make it very, very expensive to buy in to make sure this is actually what you want. And while that is unfortunate, I think it's actually kind of awesome. It's a company that actually has morals and cares about their image more than they care about next quarter's profits, okay? It's a company that has committed themselves to making breakfast under any circumstances, and they're gonna see that through till the very end, even though they could probably make way more money by just selling franchises and letting whoever the fuck throw up a Waffle House. And now for the fairy tale ending, Joe and Tom worked together as best friends for 62 years to build Waffle House into what it is today. They both passed away at the ages of 97 and 98, and now Waffle House and their legacy lives on as that company is still being operated by their kids, and that is the American dream.
That is an awesome story. I really, really like that story. And they're keeping it a family business. They're keeping the way going. Hopefully the family always, always, always continues to be open all the time like that, no matter what. Because that's their big thing. Because that can destroy a business. If you're always open and then you start skimping and like closing for this or closing for that, then all of a sudden, that's what kind of happened with Walmart. That's why a lot of people don't go to Walmart anymore, because all the stores used to be open 24/7. Now, 9 out of 10 of them are closing at like 11 o'clock at night. It's like, what the heck? It's like, ever since the big pandemic happened, people don't want to be open 24 hours no more. They just got lazy, and it's like, that's ridiculous. It's like 24/7. I think everything should be open 24/7. Everything. That way, no matter when you work, what time you're up, what time you sleep, you can go and get your stuff done. Everything. Banks, federal buildings, everything. Everything should be 24/7. If people are awake, it should be open. That's the way I think. And I wish it was that way. And the first place I ever find that's like that, that's where I'm moving to.
Together with one of your best friends, pick a goal, even if it's something as simple as serving breakfast to people, and never let anything get in between you and achieving your goal, even hurricanes and floods and natural disasters, apparently. Work with your best buddy for 62 years straight and then die together and hand it off to your kids. In conclusion, Waffle House is the most American company ever, and that's why I love it. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Yeah, so excellent story. I love his channel. Excellent, excellent. Let me know some other stuff you want me to watch. Do you want me to watch some more Fat Electrician? Do you want me to watch some Y-Files? Some other stories? This is part of our story segment of the channel. So we watch like different stories and stuff like that. We have quite a few segments on the channel. But what I'm finding is not a lot of people want to see other stuff. Everybody wants to see music, music, music. But we have the story segment. We have the top 10 segment to where we watch like top 10, top 25 different things. We have the, what's the other stuff we have? We had the funny pet videos. Hardly anybody watched those. Daily Dose, Mentally Mitch. We was watching some of that stuff, but some of the stuff hardly nobody's watching. So that's why I kind of cut back on some of this stuff and doing more music reactions. But I'd like to get away from the music reactions and watch some other stuff, because the music reactions are kind of a pain sometimes with all the copyrights and all this, that, and the other thing, and the psychotic fans and on some artists. But yeah, so you beautiful people have a great day. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We'll talk to you later, and goodbye for now.